Welcome to today's Explainer. We're diving straight into something absolutely massive today. We are unpacking the proposed Lagos Green Line rail project and looking at exactly how this incredible piece of infrastructure aims to completely reshape mobility, urban planning, and economics in Africa's fastest-growing megacity. If you've been wanting to understand the future of urban transport in Nigeria's commercial capital, you are in exactly the right place. Here's how we're going to break this down today. We'll start with the Lagos commute crisis, then enter the Green Line, mapping the route, transforming the megacity, and finally, the road to completion. Let's get right into it. Part 1, the Lagos commute crisis. And yeah, it comes with a heavy economic cost. Think about it for a second. How much pure human potential and economic energy is just wasted every single day trying to move from point A to point B? Lagos is an incredibly dynamic place, right? You can literally feel the hustle and the constant movement of people and goods. But that exact same dynamism has created a monster of a development challenge. Traffic congestion here isn't just an inconvenience. It is a massive, heavy economic tax on the entire city. Just look at the Victoria Island, Lekki, Ajah, Sangatoto, and Epe corridor. If you know, you know. Commuting along this stretch can easily eat up several productive hours of your day. This daily gridlock drives up transport costs, it drains fuel, and frankly, it just wrecks your quality of life, whether you're a worker, a student, or trying to raise a family. This specific axis has exploded in growth, which is great, but the public transport simply hasn't kept up. So, what's the fix? That brings us to part 2. Enter the Green Line, the strategic response. We aren't just talking about adding a few new buses or a minor road expansion here. We are looking at a massive, long-distance urban rail corridor stretching approximately 68 to 70 kilometers. That scale is what makes this a genuine game-changer. It shifts the strategy from just patching up local bottlenecks to completely rewiring the entire eastern urban spine of Lagos. Along that massive stretch of track, they're planning to build about 17 distinct stations. This continuous lifeline is designed to serve major, high-density hubs, running all the way from the bustling commercial heart of Victoria Island straight out to the heavy-hitting industrial investments of the Lekki Free Trade Zone. This high-capacity rail access isn't just a train. It's a critical infrastructure backbone. It's built to team up with the existing blue and red lines, driving serious rail capacity right into one of the most economically vital corridors in the entire city. Okay, moving on to part 3, mapping the route, from Marina all the way out to the Lekki FTZ. Let's trace this path, because the logic here is actually brilliant. It kicks off at the Marina interchange, which is already this massive multimodal hub for roads, ferries, and other train networks. Then it slices right through the busy, established commercial and residential areas of Victoria Island and Lekki Phase 1, past the super-congested Jakande and Chevron access. From there, it keeps pushing east through major commuter nodes like Ajah and Sangotito, all the way out to the emerging growth areas of Ibeju-Lekki and the massive industrial powerhouse of the Lekki Free Trade Zone. It literally links Lagos's historic economic core directly to its brand new engines of investment. Now, it's one thing to see lines on a map in a boardroom, but the real magic happens at these localized commuter hubs. It highlights how the Green Line creates a more integrated transport model where the trains, the roads, and even pedestrian paths actually work together seamlessly rather than competing in isolated chaos. Which leads us perfectly into part 4, transforming the megacity. Let's look at the real socioeconomic impact here. Zooming out for a second, on a macro level, the Green Line is essentially a comprehensive development spine. It tackles all that lost productivity we talked about earlier head-on.
By anchoring something called Intelligent Transit-Oriented Development, or TOD, these stations turn into localized hubs. Imagine housing, schools, markets, and hospitals all built around easy transport access, rather than just random urban sprawl. Ultimately, it sends a massive signal to global investors and top talent that Lagos is building the exact kind of mass transit backbone required to compete as a 21st century megacity.
Reliable mobility is a huge magnet for capital, and it's pretty easy to see why businesses are going to thrive here. When you eliminate the headache of unpredictable transport, investors are way more likely to build factories, logistics facilities, and mixed-use developments right along the corridor. They know for sure that their staff, their customers, and their suppliers can actually move efficiently. But let's bring it back down to the micro level for everyday people, because the impacts here are deeply personal. Good public transport is honestly the ultimate social equalizer. When rail services are safe and affordable, low and middle-income workers, students, and small business owners get access to new opportunities without taking on the massive financial burden of a private car. Plus, taking thousands of heavy polluting private vehicles and informal buses off the road, that means a cleaner, greener Lagos with much lower emissions and better air quality for everyone. Instead of dealing with the daily nightmare of road traffic, sudden flooding, or broken down vehicles blocking the expressway, everyday commuters will finally have a highly predictable schedule. And that literally means getting your valuable time back. Time to rest, time for family, time to study, or time to build your own enterprise. Finally, Part 5. The road to completion. How do we actually get this thing built? Building infrastructure on this colossal scale requires a really strict, phased approach. It starts heavily with phases 1 and 2, locking down the route, securing environmental safeguards, and getting the public and private funding sorted out. Then it shifts into the nitty-gritty, designing and building the actual tracks, depots, and power systems. But before a single passenger steps on board, Phase 5 is all about rigorous safety checks and trial runs, all leading up to the ultimate goal in Phase 6, full passenger operations and maintenance. Now, there is a crucial caveat here. The phenomenal potential of the Lagos Green Line hinges entirely on execution. While it is incredibly promising, its actual success relies on it being delivered transparently, safely, and with a deep respect for the communities it's going to serve. So as we wrap up this explainer, and you look at this amazing vision of an integrated urban waterfront, I want to leave you with a question to ponder. Once Lagos successfully wires its daily mobility directly into its long-term prosperity, how quickly do you think other African megacities are going to follow suit?
If this message opened your mind, don't keep it to yourself. Subscribe to MasterSense by Faraday, hit the like button, and share this video with someone who needs wisdom, clarity, and inspiration today. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss our next powerful lesson. Remember, knowledge becomes power only when you act on it. See you in the next video.
All right, let's dive right into this explainer. You know, we hear a lot about these massive, shiny mega projects that promise to completely transform our cities. But today, we're going to look way past the hype to uncover the real mechanics of a multi-billion-dollar initiative, the Lagos Green Line. We're pulling directly from an incredibly insightful analysis by MasterSense by Faraday, and we are going to look at the hard truths of urban development in a rapidly booming megacity.
So here's the absolute crux of our entire analysis today, and it's a pretty massive caveat. The economic promise of this project, it is entirely conditional on how it's executed. It's not just about drawing a cool line on a map or announcing a giant budget. As the source material emphatically points out, the Green Line will only reduce congestion and support economic growth if it is delivered transparently, safely, and sustainably. That word "if" is doing a whole lot of heavy lifting here. And that is exactly what we are going to unpack today. So here's exactly how we're going to break this whole thing down. First, the economic promise. Then, funding the mega project, the delivery control chain, key challenges to watch out for, and finally, measuring real success. Kicking things off with Section 1, the economic promise. Let's talk about the ultimate dream here, which is completely opening up that heavily congested Lekki-Epe axis. The big goal is to balance out the city's development and just drastically boost everyday productivity. I mean, imagine commuting along this corridor without sitting in that absolutely crippling gridlock. It's a total game changer. For Lagos to stay economically competitive in the long run, this vision really has to become a reality to solve the mismatch between rapid urban growth and limited mass transit. Because laying down this track, it creates a massive economic ripple effect. Lagos is aiming to directly support some huge strategic assets that are already sitting on this corridor. We're talking about the Lekki Free Trade Zone, the Lekki Deep Sea Port, the whole shebang. Better rail connectivity here isn't just about moving people from point A to point B. It's about reeling in fresh investment, sparking industrial growth, and basically supercharging the value of transit-oriented communities all along the route. It's a huge economic catalyst. But, and this is a big but, success depends on way more than just the train itself. Ground-level execution is absolutely critical. As our source makes clear, Lagos is going to need super strong integration with feeder buses, safe pedestrian routes, park and ride spots, digital ticketing. All of it has to work together to be genuinely useful. Because think about it. If commuters struggle just to get from their front door to the station, that crucial last mile, well, that shiny new train isn't going to come close to hitting its actual ridership potential. Moving right along to Section 2, funding the mega project. So, when we map out exactly how this green line gets funded and actually built, there is a very strict framework at play. We're looking at potential involvement from major infrastructure financiers and technical partners, like China Harbor Engineering Company. But here's the catch. These funding partners are weighed directly against some non-negotiable delivery requirements. Things like sticking to a realistic budget and having really disciplined procurement. Add to that the public assurances, fair compensation, environmental safeguards, keeping the public in the loop. The fact that major development finance institutions are involved pretty much guarantees these rules have to be taken seriously. Basically, the money comes with strict rules of engagement, for sure. Which brings us to Section 3, the delivery control chain. The source material lays out this incredibly disciplined 5-step delivery control chain, and these have to happen sequentially. Step 1, secure the funding and agree on how to share the risks. Step 2 is locking in the complete engineering design and those robust safeguards we just talked about. Then and only then comes Step 3, building the actual physical stuff. The tracks, the depots, the power systems. Step 4 is absolutely critical. We're talking months of rigorous safety checks and trial operations before a single passenger even steps foot on a train. And finally, Step 5, launching the service with all those vital feeder links and maintenance systems already locked in. You literally cannot just jump from getting the money to running the trains without nailing every single step in between. All right, reality check time. Section 4, key challenges to watch. Because taking this from a blueprint to physical infrastructure is incredibly difficult. Building a massive rail line right along an already packed access, that is going to seriously test the city's traffic management. The construction disruption alone is a major hurdle. It could temporarily make traffic way worse before it gets better. And it's not just about moving dirt around. This phase is really going to test the government's ability to acquire land and see how humanely they manage folks who are currently encroaching on that right-of-way. Let's actually break down those critical risks explicitly. First off, the whole thing goes off the rails, pun intended, if capital dries up mid-construction. Funding continuity across a multi-year cycle is absolutely paramount. Then you've got land acquisition and compensation. Local communities, traders, property owners, they all need to be engaged fairly and transparently. We already touched on construction chaos and weak last-mile integration, but finally, maintenance planning has to be sorted from day one. I mean, you can build the most beautiful train in the world, but if it breaks down in year 2 because no one planned for long-term upkeep, public confidence will just absolutely plummet. And finally, Section 5, Measuring Real Success. So how do we actually define success here, beyond just ticking off engineering boxes and counting the final price tag? Well, the overarching blueprint demands inclusive, transit-oriented development. Crucially, this means planning for everyone, creating housing, vibrant markets, and opportunities for small businesses right around the stations, not just slapping down high-end real estate. It means truly prioritizing commuter access, whether they're walking, biking, or hopping off a BRT bus. It also means protecting the right-of-way humanely and being 100% transparent with Lagosians about progress, safety, and compensation. When you get right down to it, we have to strip away all the macroeconomics and just ask some fundamental human questions. Will a worker in Ajah actually get to Marina reliably every single morning? Will a student out in I Bet You Lucky have an easier time getting to school? The real success of the Green Line shouldn't be judged by its length or engineering ambition, but by its day-to-day impact on ordinary people. At the end of the day, long-term service quality and reliability are what dictate true utility and public trust. So, pulling this all together, this mega project is not just about laying down steel tracks. It is the ultimate test of urban governance. It's a test to see if Lagos can plan, finance, and execute at the absolute highest level to evolve into a truly modern African megacity. Will Lagos successfully use this multi-billion-dollar opportunity to unlock its future, or will it just stay trapped by its own rapid growth and congestion? That's the billion-dollar question. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer today, and keep questioning how our cities are being built.
If this message opened your mind, don't keep it to yourself. Subscribe to MasterSense by Faraday, hit the like button, and share this video with someone who needs wisdom, clarity, and inspiration today. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss our next powerful lesson. Remember, knowledge becomes power only when you act on it. See you in the next video.